Before we begin, I would like to encourage everyone listening to the podcast to sign up for my upcoming workshop, where we will learn how to improve our relationships with each other while focusing on the relationship with ourselves. The Dowsing protocol is called the Twin Flame Within Restructuring, and the workshop will be held on Saturday, July 30th on Zoom. Registration for the class is only $80, which is a limited time offer for this date only, so if this is something that you want to add to your dowsing practice, please go to vitalbioenergetics.com and register today. And now for today's podcast. Welcome to High Vibes with your host, Bill G. At High Vibes, we're looking into what it means to be a fourth dimensional being in an ever-changing world. We hope that by listening to our podcast, you can feel a greater sense of peace and connection as we collectively raise our energetic vibration to the next level. And now for today's podcast. Hello and welcome to
High Vibes.
I'm Bill G and I'm here with Nina, and today on today's show we are going to gush. We are gushing about the American Society of Dowsers National Convention. Now this is the fourth show we've done on this particular event, but we just got back about a week ago and we are still riding on a high. So we just wanted to give you guys a nice firsthand account of our experience at this great event. And so that way, we want more people to be there to experience this. It was really, really a fun event.
Yeah, I think so many healer folk and energy workers out there would really love it. And I gotta say that I was really nervous about going because this is my first year of actually attending this show. And I was worried that I would be kind of overwhelmed by all the people there and all the energies there, because that tends to happen. So I don't readily frequent shows, but out of utter necessity, I had to go due to drama and stuff. But anyway, I went, and I'm so glad I did, because I didn't realize that before the show, a wonderful woman named Sandy Escrow, who does she run that whole thing? She kind of runs that.
Well, she was the chairperson of the planning committee, and we interviewed her a couple episodes back.
Yeah. So Sandy Escrow, a big shout out to you, because you did an amazing job creating grounding for this show. There was I felt no weird energies or people's energies. You just grounded that whole place out, and it was a really amazingly uplifting place to be. It elevated our energy so high that all of that drama just melted away, and I had no problems being there. So if you're an energy worker or a really sensitive person who doesn't like to frequent these things, but would maybe really like to go and learn amazing things, you can feel very confident that you are going to feel amazing when you go there.
Yeah, and something to look forward to for people who listen to the show here. We have a lot of phenomenal speakers, incredible speakers throughout the entire convention. And I'm going to be reaching out to most of them to do an interview here on High Vibes to kind of expand on what they said in their talk, or just introduce what they did in their talk, just to give it more of a voice, because there's just so much information. I mean, you could be easily overwhelmed by the amount of information that people had to share, or personal experiences, or how they use dowsing to uplift their energy and make the world a better place. And so I'm going to be bringing those people onto the show so that way we can talk to them a little more. So I'm looking forward to that.
And today we're just going to give you a few highlights of our favorite things from the show.
Absolutely.
And we didn't see everything because we couldn't, because we were speaking and we were running a booth. Right. And we had stuff to do, but there are so many things, so many more things than what we're going to say here.
Right.
So Bill, what was a few of your favorite things that you encountered at the show this year?
Well, first of all, my number one favorite thing was getting to sit down with individual people, clients over at the Wellness Center, because that's someplace where I get to sit down and do what I do. And I love what I do. And so I got to see 11 different clients who scheduled themselves at the Wellness Center. So that was definitely a huge highlight for me. Another, as far as participation is concerned, the keynote speeches. Because I was in the Wellness Center, I couldn't be seeing any of the individual speeches, but I was able to see Marty Lucas do his speech.
And Marty Lucas does radionics,
right?
Which is something I'm learning. Thank you, Marty. And thank you, Aaron Singleton, who does like a form or an offshoot of radionics called biomorphic geometry. And that stuff will blow your mind. And it's just done on paper.
Right.
So yeah, those are really cool, weren't they?
Absolutely.
And how about that guy who let you bring home all these tips about gardening?
Yeah, that was Dr. Patrick McManahan.
Oh my gosh, is that cool? What is one cool thing that he said about gardening?
One thing he said cool about gardening is how through your intention and through dowsing in general, you can actually increase the yield in your personal garden. You can relieve your food that you're growing of toxins. And he works primarily with commercial farms. And he's able to like increase their crop yields by like 300% just by using dowsing. And so that was also incredible. That speech was also a lot of fun to just sit there and listen to.
And he has a book out there. You can even get it on Amazon. And I ordered mine, thank you very much, about this. And you can do it in your own garden. Now, we don't have this huge garden. We have a beautiful deck that overlooks a gigantic forest. And we have lots of hungry animals that would come and like just ravage a garden. So we put ours in pots up on our deck, but we can still utilize all of these techniques that he was talking about to not only
increase the yield.
Yeah, to increase the yield, and we can get rid of like pests and just make our plants a lot happier, and even get rid of the toxins from whatever plastic
or mediums
that you're using to grow your stuff in. So wow, was that cool?
We got to run our workshop together, our Past is Present workshop, which we will be doing again as a 2-day event in October.
And there were lots of weeping and emotional release and really good learning from that workshop, wasn't there?
Absolutely. And so if you're interested in, if you couldn't make it to the convention and you want to do that workshop, it's called Your Past is Present, Dowsing Your Connections for Other Lifetimes. And yes, that's available on the website to sign up for. Or if you want to experience that in person, you can certainly reach out to me and we can see about doing that in a venue near you.
Yeah, either Bill or Bill and I will come to you. And we can all cry together about all the beautiful things, all the beautiful gifts we've given ourselves.
And just a few words here about going to the convention itself. It's held at Plymouth State University up in Plymouth, New Hampshire. We don't have the dates yet for next year's convention, but it's generally held the first or second week in June.
Can you sign up for updates on Dowsers.org?
Absolutely. If you become a member of the American Society of Dowsers, you also get a discounted rate to going to the convention, which automatically, right off the bat, pays for your membership. And then some, because the discount for the convention is actually more than your membership fee. So it's definitely worth it to become a member. And then on top of that, the accommodations at the college are excellent and very, very affordable. I was able to stay in the dormitory with all my meals paid for less than $300. Now, I'm not sure if that's going to be the case next year. It's probably the price is going to go up a little bit because the price is going up on everything, but it's still, compared to staying at a hotel and going out to eat every night, it's definitely a very affordable convention to go to. The accommodations were clean, they were quiet, everything is centrally located. The dormitory is literally 20 feet from the front entrance of the dining hall.
And speaking of the dining hall, that cafeteria is amazing.
It is.
They have gluten-free options. Like they have a whole 2 sections for that. Mm-hmm. They have vegan options. They have a really great salad bar. They have this wonderful woman, and I wish I caught her name, but she was so lovely and so friendly in the middle of the whole thing doing Chinese stir fry.
Oh, cool.
It was so good. And the minute I walked in there, this really lovely man comes over and says, "So, what can you eat?" And he showed me everything, and he was showing everybody everything. So they are very proud of the food that they make there. It's local. It's all fresh. They don't like hire people to come in from these big corporations and cook food for you. They don't get food from like, these big mass market sort of places for the most part, but they have a lot of local and they cook it there themselves. And they're so nice. And even one of the guys who I asked a to-go box for my son who did not eat all of his chicken and wanted to bring it with him, got him a to-go box, even though they don't normally do that.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, they were really nice to us. Oh, and they have like 15 different types of ice cream.
Also, the downtown over at Plymouth is very, very nice. They've got an excellent have a little coffee shop there. They have an ice cream parlor. They have this lovely Thai restaurant called
Thai Smile.
Thai Smile. Yeah.
The staff is fantastic. The service is fantastic. And the food is so amazing. I think they make their own tofu. It was so fresh.
So back to the convention itself. One of the things that we were heavily involved with was the vendor area. And the vendor area is as big as a gymnasium. And there were tables there, and everybody there was just so friendly. And then also the contents of the entire American Society of Dowsers bookstore was there.
Which is so fun for anyone who loves books like I do. I spent like well over 2 hours in that section.
When we first arrived there, Jamie Westrom said spending her entire life savings at all the books. Oh, awesome books. And every book is about dowsing. And also they have had a special section there for all the speakers. So if you were a speaker at the convention, your books were set aside from the other books with your picture and everything, which was really great. I had it, all 3 of my books were there, and they sold extremely well because they were just there, and people were able to make an instant connection because they were able to see me do my speech, and then they were able to see the books there, and then they went and bought my books, which was great.
Hey, speaking of that, if any of you out there do some sort of dowsing with a pendulum or with rods or any sort of thing that's remotely even associated with dowsing, and you do something really cool, you may want to check out becoming a speaker there.
Absolutely.
Or running a workshop even.
Right. And actually, this next year, for next year's convention, I've actually volunteered to be on the committee that looks for speakers. So
so maybe you just want to hook up, just give Bill an email or a call or something and go, hey, I do something really awesome.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, and I can point you to the right direction to fill out the applications or whatever. And if you've never been to the convention before, you can definitely hit me up for, if you have questions or you're not quite sure about accommodation and that sort of thing. Something else I would want to bring up too is that for those of us out here that love to exercise, they have 2 yoga classes that are run every day at the convention. One of them was run by Dorothy, who is she's been doing the convention since the 1960s. She'll be celebrating her 91st birthday next year.
And she's doing yoga in the morning for everyone.
And she's teaching yoga. She's still teaching yoga, which is incredible. And the other yoga class was being run by our friend Selena, who was doing Ashtanga yoga, which is also very, very fitting because Ashtanga yoga, as opposed to other types of yoga forms out there, is a very spiritually based program. So you're connecting to your soul as well as exercising the body.
And Selena does this really gorgeous chanting at the beginning, doesn't she?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's really something to be there for. It's really powerful.
And on top of that, she also makes these handcrafted soaps that she sells in the vendor area.
Yeah, she's got this great garden and that she runs with her husband, and maple syrup. And she makes everything by herself in her kitchen. It's really great stuff.
And then the other vendors, Aaron Singleton was there, Marty Lucas was there.
Yeah, and they do radionics, which uses dowsing. And a bunch of like a box with dials on it, and you can sync up your field with the field of something that's very healing and get results in your life. And that's a really basic way of saying it, and I hope I did not insult anyone who does right now, because I'm just learning. What else were there? I saw shamans there.
Yes.
And I bought a beautiful shaman fan made out of a wing that this woman made, and it's so lovely. And I use shamanic fans to find kind of hidden acupuncture points for when I do acupuncture, and it just lit up so many more points than the fan that I made at home. So I'm really excited to use that.
There were also biofield people there. They were selling stones and tinctures and other things to reduce EMF. Homeopathy. Yeah. And Jamie did quite well there with her stuff, with the biofield expert line. But there were other biofield people there too. There was also a biofield person who was using tones, using tuning forks to enhance your biofield as well, which was excellent. There was also somebody selling handcrafted T-shirts and some other stuff, and just it was a great place to go in between talks. It's where you can just do a little shopping and support the people who are just there to make your experience that much great.
There were lots and lots of dowsing charts and dowsing ideologies.
Right. That blew my mind too. When you think of dowsing, people automatically think of water dowsing or what I do with the Akashic dowsing. There are so many other applications with it. That's what blew my mind too.
Yeah, from the very esoteric all the way down to, the very practical.
And something else they have there too is a Dowsing Institute, which is the first 2 days, the Wednesday and the Thursday. It's an all-day workshop for both days where they take people who have never dowsed in their lives before, and they're taught by 4 master dowsers.
Yeah, so you can go in there the first couple days and really learn how to do it yourself, and then be like a kid in a candy shop, just like picking up this chart over here and that thing over there, and then going home and applying what you learned and really elevating your life. And if you have a kid who's really also interested in it, like ours is, we were invited to have him go to like a children's
or in teenage.
It's like a teen class on dowsing. So they make it maybe a little bit more fun.
Right.
But the kids can like hang out together and be among other like-minded kids.
And this is something that's very good for the whole family too. I mean, definitely it's a relatively affordable vacation thing, and everybody gets elevated at the end. Your teenagers are like, oh no, I don't want to sit in lectures all day. There are other things to do. There's fitness to do. There are plenty of the campus is really, really great.
Yeah, they can kind of get an idea of what it is to be at college, which many parents might find valuable.
Absolutely. So yeah, it was a really great experience overall. And I definitely want to encourage all of you to consider going. So please pay attention to www.dowsers.org for updates and dates and to know when the next convention is. So that way, if you're interested in being a speaker, generally, though, that deadline for applying to be a speaker is around October, November. So if you're interested in being a speaker, that's when you would apply.
Got to get on it. It's coming up.
And then if you're interested in just going to the convention, registration usually begins in February for early bird registrations. And then they were selling registrations up to the first day of the convention too. So if you are a little, gun shy when it comes to COVID or anything like that, and you want to wait until the last minute, that's fine too. You miss out on the early bird special, but that's fine. We're more than welcoming to bring you in there, and it's going to be great. So any parting words on this or parting impressions?
Yeah, there are quite a few people that I know, especially patients of mine who came for acupuncture, who really get on board with the elevation of medicine, the elevation of living, and the elevation of their own field. And they don't have anyone to talk to. In fact, they're always telling me, you're the only person I can talk about this with. You're the only person who understands. And everyone else looks at me like I'm crazy. Well, if you need community,
this is the place to go.
Yeah. Everyone there will understand. Everyone there will be friends with you. I made friends. I wasn't there very long. I came the first day and we did a workshop.
Mm-hmm.
And then I came the last day because I had to be home during the week. But during that time, I met so many friends because everyone's talking to you and they're all such beautiful, intelligent, really intelligent people. They are very open and welcoming. And it was really such a fantastic place to meet new friends who are like-minded. And, if you're hanging out with people who don't get you, this is the place to go.
Absolutely. Yeah. It was one of the few places that I could go to. And somebody asked me, what do you do? And I say, I'm a Akashic Dowser. And they knew exactly what I did. I didn't have to explain it. That was really great. It just, that in and of itself is worth its weight in gold, because you feel like you are part of something a lot bigger than what you have just at home. Because anybody who's been doing this work for a long time, or even doing their own healing work, it's a lonely place. You feel like your family doesn't understand you. You feel like your neighbors don't understand you. Your community doesn't understand you. This is a community that gets you. And that's so important.
You know what? All those people who belong to the Dowsers Association, they should just form an intentional community.
Yeah.
Right? And then we could all just move there and we could change the world.
Yeah. On that note, thank you guys very, very much for listening, and we will see you guys next time.
Thank you for listening. For more information about Bill and Nina G, please go to www.vitalbioenergetics.com. See you next time.